Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing 15 new thriller releases that I'm very excited for. These are all coming out in early 2024, mostly from January to April with a few stragglers after, and I just can't wait to get into these. So let's hop into book one. The first book is called The New Couple in 5B, a novel by Lisa Unger. This is coming out on March 5th, 2024, and it's from the New York Times bestselling author of Secluded Cabin Sleeps 6. So this one involves a couple, Rose and Chad, and they're barely scraping by in New York, but they get good news when Chad learns that he has inherited this luxury apartment with like lots of New York charm and everything, and they're super excited. They move in. However, all these strange things start to happen. They learn about the gruesome crimes that have happened there. There's cameras everywhere. There's like a doorman who's always present, and then a murder happens and Rose gets involved. This sounds kind of like the Paris apartment to me, which I really loved. I love the whole like apartment setting because it's kind of closed a little bit. I cannot wait, and the cover is really cool for this one. Next we have First Lie Wins, a novel by Ashley Elston, and this is coming out on the 2nd of January. So our main character in this is Evie Porter, and she's a nice southern girl. She's got a nice boyfriend, it sounds like, a nice job, a nice home. The only problem is Evie Porter doesn't exist. So she's under some kind of like fake name, and she's been given this name and the location she's living at by her elusive boss, and she's got some kind of target that she's supposed to be watching. I don't know why, but I'm very intrigued. I love the whole fake like aliases thing, so I think this sounds very interesting. Haven't read anything by this author, but it sounds very fun. Next we have one by Riley Sager, who's definitely a big one here on YouTube, and I've enjoyed most of what I've read from him. This one is called Middle of the Night, a novel, and it's coming out on June 18th, 2024. And it deals with a long ago disappearance of a childhood best friend. This one has so many tropes that I love. One, I love the cover. The green is really nefarious looking, but this one involves our main character Ethan, and so when he was about 10 years old, him and his buddy Billy were out in the backyard. They set up like a tent and they were camping out there for the night, you know, just having fun and everything. Well, in the middle of the night, Billy, like the tent is slashed open and Billy is taken, never to be seen from again. Flash forward 30 years later, so I think Ethan's about 40 now. He has to return to town and he's not very excited about it because of all these haunting memories. He's got insomnia, a lot of issues from, you know, this traumatic incident, and he starts to see clues that Billy's presence is still there. So he starts to really dig into it and find the dark secrets of this town. I love like a thriller with a connection to a cold case and it coming out years later. I think that's just that's such a fun trope, I think. So I cannot wait for this one. Coming out in April, we have one called Missing White Woman. This is by Kellye, Garrett, and this is coming out on April 30th, 2024. And the tagline is, "The truth is never skin deep." But this book is based on the idea that essentially Brianna, who's kind of our main character, her and her boyfriend are going away for the weekend. He's booked this romantic getaway. He's like made the reservations for where they're staying, all this stuff. She's very excited. Well, they wake up one morning and her boyfriend Ty is gone. And this woman, the missing white woman who's been like all over the media, is in like the kitchen or like where they're living. Like her body's on the floor. And Brianna has no idea where her boyfriend is, how this woman got here. And so now she's being hounded by the police and internet sleuths, and she's having to deal with this and just try to figure out what happened. So I think this sounds very interesting. I like the premise. It's very creepy that her boyfriend disappears, so I'm kind of like, okay, we're gonna see what happens there, but I thought this was a very interesting premise. Next we have one coming out in January on the 16th. It's called Only If You're Lucky, a novel by Stacy Willingham, and this is by the best-selling author of A Flicker in the Dark and All the Dangerous Things. So I'm excited for this. This one actually has an academic setting, which I really enjoy. Setting-wise, basically we have this woman named Lucy Sharp, and she's very bold and dangerous. She's like the it girl. She's very magnetic, and she kind of pulls this girl named Margaret into her circle, and Margaret's been very cut off and shy and reserved since starting college because she lost her best friend tragically after high school graduation. So she's pretty much spent the college year studying, keeping her head down, not partying, being very, you know, quiet, unassuming, in her own corner, in her own space. Well, Lucy pulls her in and asks her to room with her and a couple other people who are all kind of opposites, but they start to kind of intertwine with their stories. And shortly after this, one of their like fraternity brothers nearby ends up being really brutally murdered, and Lucy goes missing. Like, she's nowhere to be found. So Margaret is kind of I guess, telling us the story, and we're gonna see where it's gonna go. So I think this one sounds very interesting. I love the academic setting. Really cool cover for this one, so I thought this one sounded very interesting. Next one we have is by Steadman. It's called Look in the Mirror, a novel, and it's coming out on July 30th, 2024. And Nina is actually left with a gleaming dream vacation home in a tropical paradise after her father dies. And this one sounds like it's telling the story from two different perspectives. So Nina, who has inherited this luxury mansion, and she's so shocked because her father, I don't think he thought he was rich. She thought he was very sensible, and she had no idea this vacation home existed. So she's really confused. She's trying to figure out what's going on. And then we have Maria, who is like, it sounds like she's kind of like a nanny, or like she stays at the home like watching it, but she doesn't have any wards right now. So she kind of just is taking a little vacation herself there. But there is one rule she was given, and that's not to go down to the basement, but she doesn't know if she can resist. So I'm really curious. I love the setting. A tropical, like, this would be perfect for summer. I've read The Family Game by Steadman, and I did like it. Didn't love the ending. I didn't think it really made sense too much to me. I don't know, I just didn't love it, but I did enjoy the ride, and I feel like this sounds really fun, so I think this will be a good one. Coming out on February 20th, 2024, we have Keep Your Friends Close by Leah Konen. And the tagline is, how well do you know your friends? This one is really weird. So our main character is Mary, and she's really isolated right now. She's in a custody battle, going through a divorce. It's very messy. She's very isolated, lonely. She meets a woman out like at a club or something named Willa. They have a few drinks. She tells her, like, opens up about her divorce and like her issues with her soon-to-be ex-husband. Well, the next day, Willa has disappeared. She's not responding to any calls or text messages. A few months go by, and Mary ends up running into Willa in town, but this time Willa's going by a different name named Annie, and she has like a family and everything. Shortly after this, Greg, who is the like ex-husband, is found dead. And now Mary can't help but wonder, did Willa / Annie have something to do with this? Like, is she a con woman? Is she like getting revenge for her? Like, what happened here? So she starts to dig into it. So this sounds really interesting. I love a good like friend drama with a thriller, so this one sounds very weird but very fun. This one is actually a second book in the series, and this is book 2 of the Kingsley series. I just read Beneath the Surface and I really enjoyed it. This one is called Under the Palms, a novel. It's by Rouda, and it's coming out on May 21st, 2024. And this one also takes place during a weekend retreat with the powerful Kingsley family. So I'm not going to give as many specifics about this one because it does spoil some stuff for the first book. So if you haven't read that, I don't want to spoil that, but basically they are all getting together. The Kingsley, these like fabulously wealthy family. They have this very big business empire, and in the first book, one of them has been named the new like business like CEO, like head of the company, right? And so while they're on this family trip, the power dynamics are shifting. They're just vying for power, and like they're trying to repair different relationships that were damaged in the first book. Some of the women are getting together, some of the men are getting together. They're just trying to win. Like it's just very power hungry family. So a very like good like kind of a rich people drama for like power is basically what I'm going to leave it at, because I don't want to give any spoilers since this is book 2 in the series, but I am very excited. I really liked book 1. Next one is one by an author I just read my first book from, and that is Fredda McFadden, and this is called The Teacher. It's coming out on February 6th, 2024. And she's the author also of The Housemaid, if you are familiar with that one. And it says, Lesson 1 is trust no one. So our main character in this is Eve, and she's a teacher. She's got a very normal routine life. She wakes up every morning at the same time. She goes to work. She gets a kiss from her husband, and things are okay until there's this huge scandal at her school about this student-teacher relationship. And the student in question, her name is Addie. But what Eve knows that other people don't is that Addie isn't what she says she is, and she's a very manipulative person. She's not to be trusted, basically. So it sounds like she's going to be kind of delving into Addie's life and trying to find out if what she's saying about the student-teacher relationship is true, or if Addie's actually spreading these rumors and like an intention to hurt the teacher's reputation, something like that. So it sounds really good. I really enjoyed The Coworker by her. It was a really fast-paced thriller. I had a really good time with that, so I can't wait to check this one out. Next we have You Know What You Did, a novel by K.T. Nguyen, and this is coming out on April 16th, 2024. It's recommended for fans of Lisa Jewell and Celeste Nig, and it is a debut thriller So this is supposed to be both a really haunting thriller, but also a look at the refugee experience, apparently. So Annie Shaw, she grew up quite poor, but she is now quite successful. She works in the arts. She's got a family. Unfortunately, she recently found out that her mother, who's I think is back in Vietnam, is actually passed away, and she's really upset about this, and her obsessive compulsive disorder actually starts to get worse. Her mind kind of starts to fracture a bit, like she's having issues with her memory, and all of this leads up to an even bigger event when an art patron at like her gallery ends up disappearing, and she's a suspect. And one day she actually wakes up in a hotel room next to a body, and she has no idea how she's got there. The police are obviously very curious how she got there, and she can't answer them, but all she knows is she's going to protect her daughter at all costs. I think this sounds really interesting, very haunting, and I thought this one looked very interesting. Next we have one called She's Not Sorry, a psychological thriller by Mary Kubica. This is coming out on April 2nd, and it stars an ICU nurse who uncovers a patient's frightening past. And our main character in this is Megan. She's an ICU nurse. She has a teenage daughter, and she likes her job. She really likes connecting with patients, but she gets too close to this one patient. And this woman named Caitlin has like traumatic brain injury. She jumped off of a bridge. But as Megan gets closer to her, she starts to wonder if Caitlin was actually pushed. So she's starting to get really entangled in Caitlin's life to kind of a, you know, more dangerous, like unprofessional way. But it does sound like it could be really interesting, and I love the color scheme for the cover. Next we have Don't Forget Me, a thriller by Frey. This is coming out on March 1st. And it says, when a body is presumed to be her missing husband's, a woman must unravel the secrets of her own past to clear her name. What's interesting about this is Ruby is kind of a troubled person. She's had a daughter who recently ran away, and then her husband disappears. And then shortly after that, a body is found in like a nearby lake. And everyone is convinced that it's her husband's body, except for Ruby. And Ruby starts to delve deeper and deeper into her neighbors and her town and secrets and her husband's past and all these different things to try to figure out where her husband actually is. It sounds really interesting. I'm like, can they not do like a DNA check or something? I don't know, but I'm curious. I thought it had a really interesting premise. By Nishita, we have The Night of the Storm. This is coming out on January 16th, 2024, and it is a debut author. And what's amazing is this is a classic locked room thriller that takes place during Hurricane Harvey. So our main character in this is Gia, and this takes place with a multi-generational Indian family. Basically, she's having a rough week. Her son has recently been suspended for getting into a fight, and there's a hurricane coming, and her sister invites them to stay with them in this really nice, kind of remote, as you can see on the cover, mansion. And they're like, okay, well, you know, it'll be safer, maybe a change of pace will be good. And Gia's also having trouble with her ex-husband, who's just getting on her case and just snooping around. But they get there and she's just uncomfortable. A lot of like her relatives, it sounds like her sister's husband might be kind of hitting on her or something, making her uncomfortable. And her grandmother is never shy about telling anyone her opinions and doesn't avoid playing favorites. Like, she will play favorites as much as she wants. Then the hurricane hits and someone is found dead. Locked room. That's all you have to tell me. A locked room mystery thriller, and I'm there, plus an iconic location, isolated, amazing. This one sounds so cool. By Alex Michaelides, we have The Fury. This is coming out on January 16th, 2024, and it's about a reclusive ex-movie star and her famous friends when they take a trip to a private Greek island. So Lana is a reclusive ex-movie star with a lot of money. She and her friends are going out to this Greek island. It's private, it's isolated. Again, I have a type of thrillers, clearly. And while they're out there, someone ends up dead, and all these secrets start to come out with the friends, and their old friendships are actually concealing a lot of hatred and revenge. So who did it? Why? What's the motive? I can't wait. Plus the setting, a Greek island. Oh, it's gonna be good. And then we have A Step Past Dark. This is by Vera, Kurian, and this is coming out on February 20th, 2024. 6 classmates, one terrifying night, a murder 20 years in the making. Oh, so again, a lot of tropes I love. Basically, in the summer 1995, we have 6 classmates. They're all very different, but they witness a horrifying crime together. And while they start to kind of try to get help, they realize they need to bury some of the evidence. So they make a pact. They bury the evidence, and they agree to never talk about it or talk to each other ever again. And it works for 20 years until one of them calls everyone back because one of them has been murdered. And these classmates remaining are the only ones who can uncover why, and I think, of course, it relates to this past crime. So creepy. I love this idea. I think it's gonna be really fun. So that is the end for 15 new releases coming out in 2024. If I missed one that you're excited for, please let me know down below, and let me know which of these you're most excited for, because I I'll try to put my top 3, but it's hard to pick because these all sound amazing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I do post new book content every week on this channel, especially in the mystery and thriller genre, as well as some like cozy living type vlogs. If you like to cozy up with a good book, you'll enjoy my channel. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye!